Good morning, my fellow yoga travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. Yeah, well, maybe I was wrong to ever let you down, but I did what I did before love came to town. So says U2 and BB King. So let's be thankful for all the things that we've done, all the bullets we've dodged, and hopefully how we've grown since love came to town. Well, time to adapt. All of us have to change in this time of collapse and cultural renewal. Anger certainly feels better than sadness if you get some energy connected to it. But we say that emotion is primary, thinking is secondary. So learn what you feel. Unmet emotional needs is not really good. You'll vent in some way that'll be inappropriate. So I hope we all can learn to respond to and learn from our anger and put it into good use as a fuel to motivate ourselves. Here's a couple of quotes from some of my teachers. First comes Daniel Goldman from the old Ram Dass satsang. What factors are at play? For instance, people high IQ flounder and those of modest IQ do surprisingly well. Well, I'd agree that the difference quite often lies in the abilities of what he calls emotional intelligence, which includes self-control, zeal, persistence, and the ability to motivate oneself. It sounds like someone who's into yoga practice, right? High channels of productivity as we're capable of rather than sabotaging ourselves. So we have these things here to understand that there's survival, the fight and flight, freeze or fawn response, the response team. Who else do you have to share emotions with and be able to process what's going on? There's the energy source. Are you connected to something greater than yourself? I am divine and ye are the branches. Without me, you can do nothing. And if you realize that thinking is primary, secondary, emotion is primary, know what you feel first before you're motivated to make a shift. And then we say the brain has to downshift. You have to learn how to slow down, witness what's going on, not get distracted, not pull away. And then, of course, if you repress the stuff in a prolonged way, it's not healthy. As Freud says, the return of the press, the stuff will come up again, and either in weird dreams or symptom formation, or sometimes quirks of fate to show you externally what's going on because you're not paying attention inside. Now, part of the problem is, of course, we want to communicate. This guy says language is about the impossibility of communicating what we precisely wish to communicate, and this gorgeous attempt that we make to do that anyway. So he says, I'll love that we'll never say exactly what we mean, but we'll forever keep trying. But the vibe is something that you can experience directly, even if the words and the verbiage tend to mislead you. So, raise your awareness, communicate as precisely as you can, learn how to share what you value, what you believe in, and find out. Don't hang out with those who don't respect you and vice versa. Anybody who has that kind of insecurity is going to pull you down. And you certainly maybe can pull them up, but be careful who your satsang is. Next thing is reflection doesn't take anything away from decisiveness, from being a person of action. In fact, it generates the inner toughness that you need to be an effective person of action or to be a leader. So ask questions, right? Question authority, think for yourself, as Tim Miller used to say. And then all your actions are usually goal-oriented. For what purpose are you doing this? To what end are you doing it? And so most of us have multiple options. So you learn to pick the best ones, the ones that serve you the most. And hopefully your service can also serve us all. And then you realize that we all have this conditioned response aspect, unconditioned stimulus, unconditioned response. But then the neutral stimulus, no response. But then if you do the neutral stimulus and add the food, which is going to create the response of salivation in the dog, it does it. And then you take away the food and you just give the neutral stimulus and you still get the conditioned response. If we study one-dimensional human, how we've all been conditioned to, in a certain way, have a cult mentality in how we believe, and it shuts off our reasoning, it shuts off our ability to hear other people, then you want to take a look at how have you been conditioned sociologically, religiously, politically, culturally. Right, so once you understand you've been conditioned and all this anger that we have, peace, man. You have to learn to clear out your head from those negative thoughts and your desire for revenge or for belligerence or what it is that makes you send out negative vibes, negative transference. And don't pick a teacher who's a bully. Don't pick a teacher who's solely a DI, a drill instructor. Find teachers who are compassionate, who see you, who maybe challenge you, but don't put you down. And then if you do find a teacher, they're going to be filled with the stories of the homeland, as I like to say. The myth of getting back to where we belong, to the source. Shruti Shmirti, what have you heard and what do you remember? I hope you find a teacher who influences you that way. And when you do, start to purify your life. Realize that you have free will, you're going to be assisted from above. So set out to purify. Light your incense, offer your prayer, and invite the forces from the other realms to come in and support you. And then realize you're only impoverished if you don't make the effort. We need a load to carry. We're like a sled dog. You feel, if I'm not doing anything, I'm not going anywhere, what use is it? So how do you serve? And you learn the difference to strut your stuff in what I call a healthy exhibitionism. Lift that load. Lift that load. And don't be so narcissistic that people think you're an asshole and don't want you around. Now remember, we all have to find liberation from what I call tribal spirituality into human spirituality, because these three things mess so many people up. The incivility of politicians, partisan and sensationalist news people, the anti-intellectualism of trying to find simple answers to complex problems, and the tribalism that splits us into such simple us and them, Democrats and Republicans, left and right. See how divisive it is? It's not liberation from tribalism. But we need to liberate ourselves and expand into non-denominational, non-sectarian humanity. And then there'll always be the distinctions, like in the Jewish tradition, the fighting. They say that some are supposed to stand up during this part of the prayer. Others say you're supposed to sit down and stand up the prayer. And then they ask the rabbi, you should sit up or stand. They're both. You're supposed to stand up and sit down. That's how it is. Everybody has their own tradition. You argue about what's right. And then arguing about what's right is part of the tradition as well. So remember, if you walk into the doctor's office and you're hunched over and then you come out tall as can be, it's a miracle. No, miracle schmiracle. He just gave me a longer cane. So find out what you need to do to not be distracted away from the witness and pay good attention to whatever's going on in life. And always be thankful, be grateful for every little break that you have and all the consequences in your life that have arrived not through your own doing, but through grace. I hope you all find that and have a great Thanksgiving.